Hi everyone, Jessie here. I got a card for you guys that we're gonna make. So what I've done is I've taken a piece of white cardstock and an 8.5 by 11, and I cut it at 4 1/4, and I scored it at 5 1/2, which gives me it's going to be a side folding card. And then I took a piece of Inktense watercolor paper, and I have cut it 1/8 of an inch smaller, so it's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I have this Stampin' Up stamp. I have no idea how old it is, but it's really pretty. I have my Inktense blocks. I have this set, which is Wonderful Words. It's like the scripty words, and we're going to use the thank you out of it. I'm just going to pull that out. I have my wide Tim Holtz water brush and my heat gun in case I need to dry in between. So let's get at her. So I'm just going to start pulling some colors out of here. I'm going to start light and work my way darker, so I'm going to start with the yellow. And actually, I'm going to spray some extra water just on my craft sheet over here. And we're just going to start in the middle. And I'm just going to start, this is like a limey green color. And I'm just going to start building up layers. So and if they're too faint, I just grab some more of the color. And we're just putting it on right now. We can put more layers on after to darken it up, but you can't take it away. So you want to start lighter as opposed to darker, because if you go dark right off the bat, you can't. With Inktense, it's really difficult, if not impossible, to lighten it up, because once they dry, they are permanent. I'm just going to get this put on, and that'll be our first layer. Okay. And then I'm just going to hit it with my heat gun here, and we'll dry it up. It's pretty wet, so I just want to dry it and let those colors, let the ink dry so that they're permanent, and then we'll go back through again. And your paper's going to warp and wrinkle, and that's okay, because when we stick it down, when we adhere it to the page after, it's fine. So I'm going to go back to my light, so I'm just going to make sure my brush is clean. I just got a piece of scratch paper off to the side here. So I'm just going to make sure I got all that color out of there. And I'm going to go back to the yellow. And I'm just going to go back into the middle. I'm actually just going to spray the paper itself this time. I'm going to pull some more of that really light green out. If you need more water, just add water. It's not a big deal. So, and those two colors are very, very similar, but I'm blending them together, and it's going over top of the others. So you're getting lots of different shades and everything, and then I'm going to hit the shadow. And I'll pull some more of my medium color here. And they're kind of mixing together and whatever. And I'm going to go all the way out to the edge with that one this time. I'm off screen. Of course, that's par for the course today. Par for the course today. So let's try that again. It's hard to see with my lighting because my lighting is really cruddy down here. I still haven't fixed that. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. think I gotta go splurge and buy myself a few lights for down in my dungeon of a basement. Make sure that it's good and dry. And then this is just a baby wipe, and I'm just going to wipe this up so that I don't accidentally spill anything into it. Or dip anything into it, I should say. Just cleaning my brush off. Okay, so next I have my stand. I'm going to heat it up with Ranger Archival ink, or ink it up, heat it up. Well, we can speak English today, everybody. I'm just going to ink that up. I'm going to check it and make sure I got like real good coverage on the stamp. Where's my foam? And I know that it's a rubber stamp, but I'm still going to put my foam underneath of it. There we go. Make sure we press that down nice and solid. I like to give it a minute. And then lift it off. And I know it's not perfect, but that'll work. Okay, so I really like pink and green together, so I'm going to use some Picked Raspberry Distress ink. As I've said in previous videos, this thing is like wildly juicy, and I have stamped it off on multiple occasions. And I'm just going to bring some of the pink in around the edges. I'm going to go very lightly, and I'm not going in very far. And some places are still damp, so it picks up differently all the way around, which is perfectly fine because it is, I mean, I used Inktense on it. It's not supposed to be ideal or anything like that, so I'm just going to pull some of that in. And you can see it's kind of messy and scrungy, and I like that, so. So I've taken that all the way around. Then that inside bit, I really want to make like the flowers jump a little bit more and have a little more around them. So I'm going to put some water on my craft sheet. I'm going to come in with my Inktense, and I'm going to start with actually the same yellow that we used in the inside, and I'm just going to go around the flowers themselves. And it's going to be subtle. And I'm not being like super careful or anything like that. And I hope it picks up on the screen, but it will make them jump off the page just a little bit more. If you hear jumping around and stuff, my son is playing his video game this morning, so that would be what that noise is. And like I said before, my paper isn't completely dry, so this is going to be like a real sketchy, dirty kind of a feel to it. That's what I wanted, so I'm okay with it. If that's not what you like, you want to make sure that you allow everything to dry completely in between coats. So we're there, and then I'm going to take some orange, and I'm going to mix some yellow into it, because I don't want it super bright. I want it more, yeah, like on the yellowy side of orange. And I'm just going to go in a few places and kind of highlight that. Not going to go all the way around all of the flowers. I'm going to put some orange in there. I mean, if you want your green background, like more or less or whatever, you can do whatever you want. I mean, it's just playing. Like, it's definitely not a perfect look, but I like it. And then I've got my thank you stamp. So this is Stampin' Up! As well. It's from 2004. This thing's ancient, but I like it. And this is versafine onyx black. And I'm not being very careful, which I should be, so now I gotta clean it up, or I will end up with a mess. Let's do it this way. Let's do it this way, and then I can be a little more careful about it. Okay. And then I'm going to make sure the stamp's the right way up. I'm going to line it across the bottom. Do I have enough room? Nope. Well, we'll try it. If it doesn't work, we'll start over and I'll refilm the video. It's crooked, but I'm okay with that. So it's good. Thank you across the bottom. And now what I'm going to do is heat set this again and make sure everything's nice and dry. So I'm going to cut some of that pink off so that it's very, very faintly there. Oops. And I'm messy when I make things, in case you can't tell. So I'm going to grab my paper trimmer. And it's still not dry. No, I gotta heat that up a little more. I just don't want to end up with it ripping all over my paper. So, try that. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to cut 1/8 of an inch off of every side. Okay. And I don't know if it's going to end up picking up the pink for you guys at all, but you lose what's right around the edge, but you gain just the little wispies of it, which I like. And then I'm going to take a piece of black cardstock. And these are just scraps I'm grabbing out of from beside me, so some of them are big, some of them aren't so big. And I'm going to cut it at 4 1/8, 5 3/8. Okay. Just let me get rid of my craft sheet here. I will wipe it up after. I just don't want to end up getting pink on something I'm not supposed to, so. And then I'm going to use my ATG gun. And I'm not going to be cheap with the adhesive because it is watercolor paper and I did saturate it and it is buckling a little bit, so I'm going to put extra adhesive on it. And as long as my head doesn't get in the way, I'm going to adhere that onto black cardstock. And before I do that, I'm going to take some gray twine here. I don't know if you guys can hear my son or not, but I have no idea what he is doing up there. And I want it horizontally, so I'm going to end up taping it on after anyway, so it's not a big deal. You just have to be a little more careful. I'm going to wrap that around a few times. And I'm not going to tie it in a bow. I'm actually just going to tie it in a knot. Up the top. if I can get it to cooperate with me here. Oh, I've got like, there we go. Then I just make sure that I go back over top of where the twine is with the ATG gun, and if I press, it'll stick. And I'll open my card up. Put that on top. And then on the inside of the card, I'm just going to double mat it black and white. So I'm going to cut another piece of 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then I'm going to cut some whites, and I'm going to cut it at 3 3/4 by 5. We will adhere the white onto the black. And then we will adhere this whole panel to the inside of the card. That bounced off the lid for my Inktense blocks. And there you have it. A very simple thank you card. It takes a little time, but I really, really like the sketchy look and that the Inktense goes over the black. And I just think it turns out really, really pretty. That makes the colors go funny. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.